What's up and good morning, War Report family? It's your guy Ike Jones, and we're back with another morning drop. Today, we're talking about the Music City Bowl coming up, Auburn versus Maryland. What does Auburn need to do to impact whoever Maryland decides to start at quarterback? Y'all know how we do right here, War Report style. Let's drop it on them.
You are now listening to the War Report. Drop.
Morning drop. It is Tuesday, December 26th. Hopefully, everybody had a great Christmas day. And 'tis the season to get into this bowl content, man. Y'all know what's up, man. Auburn versus Maryland Music City Bowl in Nashville going down this Saturday, December the 30th. And we're here to talk about it. We got to get straight into it. If you're on here, share the video with somebody. Make sure you spread the word of the War Report and all the great content we got going on. Each video, new content, so share it every time, man. It's something else for somebody. I know you might have thought you told them about the War Report before, but maybe they missed it the last time. Go ahead and share another video so we can get more people involved in the conversation. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps us out a lot. If you're listening back on podcast, make sure you're sharing that podcast with somebody out there. Give us a 5-star review if you haven't already. All right, let's get into the conversation. Now, we missed Metrics Monday yesterday, but I did want to come with some metrics today on Tuesday. I don't really have no, word, no clever title for it, no alliteration or nothing like that for Tuesday. But we do have a statistical Tuesday, close enough. It doesn't matter. But, yeah, just looking at Maryland and diving more into what they have going on. Of course, we've already heard word that Talia Tagovailoa, the quarterback for Maryland, Big Ten's all-time passing leader for the career, opting out of the game. So Maryland is going to have to rely on somebody else to figure out what they're going to do. This will be the first time, and listen, this is props to Coach Loxley. I think he's an amazing offensive mind. When he left for Maryland, Talia decided to follow him up there to Maryland. So this will be the first time that he's coached in a big situation as the head coach without his starting quarterback there with him. So we will see. Well, let me say, I'll say it's the first time. I don't know what big games maybe Talia might have missed in his past. So let me not say that. And for Maryland fans, be like, nah, man, because 2 years ago he was out for one game and he had played real well with. I don't know. I don't keep up with Maryland like that. I will just say that Tagovailoa has been his starting quarterback all 3 seasons as a head coach at Maryland. So it's going to be a different situation for him. Having said that, his offenses have always been potent, but he's always had a decent quarterback to be able to be the trigger man. So, if you're a Maryland fan, you have to trust his evaluation of the backups and figuring out what's going to happen right there. But let's just take a look at some of the things statistically going on for Maryland and whether or not they are going to pan out for this game. Things that have, not nothing to do with the quarterback, but more to do with their offense in total. And this has been a big issue, and I talk a lot about, Auburn's, not a lot, but I have talked previously about Auburn's issues on third down and getting teams off the field on third down. And that's going to be a big part of this, and a lot of that has to do with making sure that you're keeping yourself out of third and short situations where the run is an option for the teams to be able to do. Maryland is 32nd in the country on third down conversions, though. Listen, when you have a quarterback that's making the right decisions, you have an offense that allows you to get skilled players in space, and you're getting yourself into third and manageable situations, you can be good on third down, and Maryland has been good on third down this year. That's going to be crucial, and I think that it's going to be super important for Auburn to be sound in their pass rushing ability, because I think that when you have a quarterback who's inexperienced in there, you need to give them things to think about. Take away the first looks, and then let your pass rush be able to get there. So being sound in the back end is going to be super important, to make sure that the quarterback doesn't have easy options to go to quickly. You want to make sure that you have them think a little bit. We don't really have, for Auburn, a lot of guys who can generate instant pass rush, but you need to be sound in your pass rushing ability so that if you take away the first look and that quarterback has to come off of that first option, somebody's there to apply pressure eventually. So, maybe you're not getting the 30-second pass rush that you really want to be able to get to to make quarterbacks uncomfortable, but you need to be able to get a 2-second pass rush, one where, hey, they're going to get to the back of their drop. One Mississippi, hey, it's not there. Now they need to go look through their progressions. Somebody needs to be there to apply pressure to that young man and make him feel uncomfortable back there. They are also in rushing, they're 114th. So they are not, a great rushing team. They're a good rushing team, but not great. They're kind of middle of the pack, honestly. I mean, if you think about 133 FBS schools, they're 114. So actually, they're not good at pass rushing. At rushing. So the run game is not going to be a huge factor, hopefully, for Auburn. I think this is a team that relies more on their ability to pass than their ability to run the football. So Auburn's going to have to get some sort of pass rush. They're going to want to get the ball out quickly and make sure whomever the new quarterback is going to be doesn't have to sit there in the pocket all day. So Auburn being able to be sound in their ability to rush the passer is going to be crucial for success defensively. This team was 20th in the pass this season in the country. So again, starting quarterback not going to be there. You can't let the new guy get in there and feel comfortable. I'm expecting Coach Ron Roberts in this defense to be as exotic as they can be with newer players in the defensive backfield. Right, you're still going to have incumbent guys like Zion Puckett back there. If he's healthy enough to play, you should have Simpson available. But you are going to have two new starting corners, whether that's Keontae Scott moving out to the outside or K.N. Lee and J.D. Rim on the outside, right? Like K.N. Lee's played some snaps for you, so he's experienced. J.D. Rim's played some snaps for you. Keontae Scott has been in this defense for a while. D.K. Donovan Kaufman should be there. So you've got experience in your defensive secondary that should allow for you to be more exotic with your looks and not have to play base as much. You still have your starting linebacker. So everybody that's behind that defensive line going to be guys that have gotten snaps for this team significantly, and you've had a couple of weeks to prepare this. I expect some exotic looks being thrown at this young quarterback or this inexperienced. I don't know how young the quarterback is. The less experienced quarterback out there, to make them confused about where rushers are coming from, where his open looks are going to be, what his hot reads are going to be. I also expect Maryland to try to do exactly what I said, get the ball out of his hands quickly. So Auburn just needs to be prepared for how are we going to combat quick game? How are you going to get it to where, okay, we'll give you the 1 yard, 2 yard pass, but we're going to rally and tackle really quickly? Are they going to drop back and play coverage and make him try to sort out the zone? Or are they going to bring pressure and make him figure out where the hot reads are? I expect some exotic looks. I expect a lot of simulated pressure in this game so that we can keep, a four-man pressure look up front. A lot of second-level blitzers coming in here, dropping a defensive end, bring a linebacker or bringing that star. DK, I'm looking at DK for this to be one of those games like it was early in the season for Donovan Kaufman, where he's coming and really his havoc rating is going to be high for this game, because he's going to be, especially if you have Keontae Scott move to the outside, Donovan Kaufman getting more looks at the star position. Donovan Kaufman's going to be very crucial in his ability to disguise the blitzes, well-time the blitzes, and be effective in actually getting to the quarterback when he does come for that blitz and causing havoc in this game. He has been a havoc creator for Auburn early in the season when he was getting those opportunities. I want to see that renaissance of the havoc creation that Donovan Kaufman brings to this defense in this game. I think he's going to be crucial to making sure that whomever Maryland decides to start at quarterback isn't feeling very comfortable about how much time they have available to them, and maybe even making a couple of mistakes that give this Auburn defense an edge as we get out there. And hopefully have an offense that's able to take advantage of field position and maybe a couple of turnovers that they're able to generate because of the simulated pressure. I think the pass rush is going to be super important. Jalen McLeod's another guy that has been off the edge. We've talked about his ability. This is going to be a showcase game for him. He needs to go out there and really show that he's the dominant edge defender, jack linebacker that he was brought into Auburn to be. He's had some flashes this season. It's time for him to have another Arkansas type game where he's just going out there and he looks like the dominant force that he can be off the edge. I'm looking at those two guys in the defense to be creating havoc and making that quarterback, whomever it is, again, I don't know who they've decided to start. When Coach Loxley was talking about it, he named 3 or 4 guys that were in the backup role for him, which lets me know that they don't really have a clear guy who is, I mean, they might have had a QB2 on the depth chart, but as far as snaps, if you go and look at the snaps for any quarterback behind the starter, not a lot of snaps available for a bunch of those guys. And I mean, a lot of teams around the country can say that, but not a lot of snaps available. I don't expect the the curse of the backup QB to strike Auburn in this one, just because this backup QB isn't really experienced, and I don't know that they're necessarily going to be out there lighting the world up. You don't know because you haven't seen them, right? So a lot to figure out there for Maryland and their concepts of what they can and can't do with the new quarterback in there. And I expect Auburn to try to take advantage of a person who hasn't gone out there and seen this stuff consistently and make that person, that new quarterback, feel a little bit of pressure. All right, I want to get into you all's conversation because y'all are really the stars of this show, man. But we definitely want to give a shout out to the Rogue Shop, who sponsors all of our morning drops. Head over to rogueshop.com using code RAPPORT. Listen, it's always a good time to get a little bit of Rogue Shop in your life. Rogueshop.com using code RAPPORT. Pain, stress, anxiety, all of those things, Rogue Shop's got a remedy for you. So make sure that you hit them up, and that lets them know the War Report sent you when you use code RAPPORT. Let's get over into the comment section, see what you all are buzzing about this morning. I appreciate everybody. Again, hopefully everybody had a wonderful holiday seasons thus far. Holidays are not over with yet, but Merry Christmas again to those of you who celebrate, and we'll continue with this. Let's see what y'all got going on. Yes, my Fat Albert impersonation. That's always my crazy. When people say crazy stuff, they always, I don't know, Fat Albert's the voice that comes to mind to me. Whatever that is. Let's see what else you guys got going on this morning. Corey, drive safely out there. Hopefully you had a great holiday. He says, morning drop fam, driving to Orlando this morning, just listening. Appreciate you tuning in. And hopefully you have a good trip down to Orlando with the fam, man. What else we got? Paul Covington jumps in and says, good morning. I hope the entire War Report team and families had a wonderful Christmas. Looking forward to a great year for them and Auburn's. Blessings from Claremore, Oklahoma. Paul, you are now officially in SEC country out there in Oklahoma, so hopefully you are doing okay. I feel as if Oklahoma fans are just as, if not more, annoying than some of the other SEC fan bases around the landscape of the Southeastern Conference. So sorry that you have to deal with that, but thank you for tuning in today. And I did have a good holiday, and I appreciate the well wishes, and we will definitely try to have a wonderful season coming forth from the War Report. Even though we don't have an off season, it's hard to say season, but we're going to continue doing what we do. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Knox Cleveland says, curious to see how this offense will do with a couple of weeks to prepare. Definitely going to be something to take a look at. How will the Auburn offense be able to deal or be able to improve, I should say. Nobody who was a significant contributor this season on offense is going to be absent for this game. You will have your starting quarterback. You have the full bevy of running backs available to you. Your leading pass catcher in Rivaldo Fairweather is going to be available to you. And I say nobody, excuse me. That is disrespectful to one Javarius Johnson, who will not be playing in the bowl game. But you have Jay Fair that's going to be available to you, and he can, by all accounts, do all of the things that VAR provided for this offense. So should not be a significant drop-off without VAR there. With Jay Fair being able to come in, you still have Caleb Burton that's going to be able to step in and play more snaps. Hooks and Mardner both have been at practice, so they will be available. I'm expecting them to try to get Hooks and Mardner involved in this offense during the bowl game a little bit. These are going to be the last collegiate snaps that these young men are going to take. So I expect them to try to run. Listen, it's the last game of the season, man. Let's run the tempo, run the pace, and get the ball out into the hands of the playmakers. You have all those guys available. Hopefully we'll be able to see an offense that's running a little bit more efficiently and proficiently as we move into the bowl game coming up. Let's see. Knox jumps back in and says, I'm going to the bowl game this weekend, and it's going to be cold. I will be in Nashville this weekend as well, and I am not a fan of the cold unless we're talking about a freeze warning in the metaphoric sense. So I will be bundled up as if it is the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field out there. If you see me in like scarves and big bubble coat, just know Ike Jones don't do cold weather, bro. That's not me. You know what I'm saying? I'm a tropical weather guy. You know, I really should move further south if we're being honest. It's not my thing. So hopefully, you know, the wonderful thing about, no flex, but wonderful thing about working in the media is I get to watch the game from the booth. So I don't have to be outside in the elements except walking to the stadium and walking back from the stadium. But, you know, still, I don't want to do the walk either. You know what I mean? So let's see here. What else you guys talking about? Riley M asks, are there any people that could have taken part in the bowl practice but didn't from the 23 class? No, I believe everyone who. So, in order for them to have done that, they would have. I mean, I guess everybody who is an early enrollee could have, but no, I think everybody who wanted to or could have participated did, in fact, participate in bowl practice. So glad, and I've heard good things about those young men out there getting prepared for the next season. So looking forward to seeing how they contribute next year. Haley says Oklahoma softball is insufferable. I mean, when teams are really good, they tend to be insufferable. Oklahoma has been really good in softball for a while now. So, the SEC has become a power conference on multiple fronts now, not just football, right? Like it's a softball conference now, right? Like it's been a baseball conference for a while. It got even stronger in baseball. This conference is actually the competition within the Southeastern Conference has gotten to levels of ridiculousness now. When you think about the type of conference schedule that you have to go through, it's going to be interesting to see, off topic a little bit, how the basketball schedule changes to reflect this. Currently in the SEC, you play everybody and you play some teams twice. If they're going to keep the same number of SEC basketball games coming up, then that means, you add two more to your rotation, but that means you likely lose two of your repeat games. So we will see how that goes. I don't see anything else in here that is pertinent to. Oh, TK, let me get you in here. It says the Big Ten all-time leader not playing. It should be a relatively easy breeze. I mean, listen, you would hope that Auburn's defense is able to handle the backup inexperienced quarterback, and it makes Maryland a little more one-dimensional, considering it's taking away the dimension that they really like to do in this Loxley offensive scheme. So, we're going to see really quickly, and Maryland fans are going to see really quickly how well Loxley prepares his backups and how well they have stocked the cupboard in their quarterback room. He said he has confidence in the backups and what they are able to do out there. So we will see how true that is and how much confidence they have, because how much they let them actually go out there and throw the ball is going to show the level of confidence that they have, or how much that it's just, this is what the offense that we run, so we're going to do what we do, and it doesn't really matter who the guy back there is, right? There is an offensive philosophy with a lot of coaches that is, we throw the football, and so everybody who comes in here is going to be able to throw the football. It doesn't really matter who lines up as quarterback. We're throwing the football. It's not really about, we don't change the play calls. We change the piece and we keep it moving. So definitely looking forward to seeing how they approach that and how well, Auburn is able to deal with an unknown quarterback, right? Like, you don't know the tendencies of this quarterback. You know some of the tendencies of the offense, but you don't know, whether or not when they're pressured in this particular way, they tend to blah, 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 or they do a bad job of looking off safeties, or they roll one way or another. what their strengths are as far as being able to throw certain routes, right? Like there are certain things that you can pick up on 3 years of tape from a quarterback that actually help you to be able to prepare for them a lot differently than it is for somebody who you've not really seen specifically at this level be able to do some things. So it makes the scout a little bit more difficult. So you have to scout scheme, not player, a little bit more. And one of the benefits of having bowl prep is that you can really do both effectively. You have multiple weeks to scout scheme and player. So you can look at what they like to do out of certain lineups and certain things. Those things shouldn't change too much, but you don't really know what the tendency is of a quarterback and how they set up. And when they get to the back of their drop, they do this thing or these kind of tells. You don't have any of that stuff on this new quarterback. So that should be interesting. But again, I trust the defensive staff for Auburn that will be able to come in and make the necessary preparations for that. Last thing here, and we'll get out of here. James Barnett says, y'all ready to say that we will end up top 5? I'm assuming that you are talking about in recruiting top 5. And with that, it's a good time for me to say we have a building report dropping very soon. I have to confirm when it's actually dropping. You should see some teasers at least today with one, Trevon Reed. So we got Trevon Reed sit down with Mike G. So that interview is going to be coming soon, and he's definitely going to be talking about all things recruiting. So make sure that you keep your notifications on so you are ready whenever that drops out there for y'all. So War Report is still working. I told y'all, man, we don't really take days off. I took like half a day yesterday, but still was working a little bit yesterday. Anyway, that's it, man. Gonna get out of here. Appreciate you all dropping in with us. As always, the morning drop is brought to you by Rogue Shop. Make sure you head to rogueshop.com and using code REPORT when you do that lets them know the War Report sent you. Before you get out of here, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with somebody, whether you are listening on live or you're coming back for the replay or you're listening out there in podcast land. That's it. We are out of here until the next time. And as always, War Eagle.